Hi YouTube, welcome back to another video from Wtf Rc Cars. So today we have something that's not fly sky. We have the Hobbywing Mini28 and 1626 motor combo, aimed at 1/28 scale cars. So let's bring you in for a close-up look and we'll unbox this, see what you get with each of them. So at least if you buy any of these separate, you know what you get in the box and what you don't get in the box. And then I'll quickly go through some instructions, some important bits for you so you can see what you need to know about this combo. Right, so let's bring in for a close-up look and see what we find in this one. So first off, we got a nice little box. We do get a bit of info on the back. So we've got combo Mini28, 1626 SD, and this is the 6,500 kV motor pack. This one is official UK, so we do get the Schumacher sticker. So we've got that. So you do get the genuine hologram on it, where you can, I believe you can scratch that at the bottom to make sure you've got a genuine item. So the first thing we'll look at is the motor. And this is the EzRun 1626, 6,500 kV motor. Do like it when they come in these nice cases. So if we pop this out, we have got a 2 by 5mm output shaft on this. So you do need 2mm pinions. They are the more commonly used ones, I believe, on the sort of Micro B and Micro T. So they're more easily available than the ones that you'd get for the likes of the Furitech system, I believe. But yeah, we've got sensor input and then you've got CBA. If you ever can't remember which way around they are, just remember it can't be arsed. So you've got 2 screws on the back to remove the actual motor plate, and we've got 8 M2 mounting points, so it gives you lots of options on how you're going to mount this. The connections are soldered, so you will have to do some soldering if you're going to use this. We do have a proper bearing in the front. Does feel really nice, and yeah, it's pretty small. So let's have a look what we get in the actual box. So if you do end up ordering this separate, you get the instructions that nobody ever reads, so I'll go through them in a minute. We do get a sensor cable. So you do get a nice sensor cable for it with the motor. And if we have a quick look on this, because I'm not sure if it'll give us the sensor cable length. So you're looking probably just over 85mm, not quite 90mm. So we do get that. And let's have a quick blast through the instructions, see if there's anything we need to be aware of on this one. So it does warn you about using the actual motor. Make sure A, B and C are wired properly. Make sure your sensor cable's connected. The motor dimensions, so they do a 3500, a 5000 and a 6500. The no load currents on these are 0.4, 0.5 and 0.6. They're all 2S capable. The actual motor diameter itself is 60mm or 0.63 inch. The length of it is 26mm or 1.02 inch. The shaft, as I've said, is a 2mm. The length, I thought it was 5, but it's not, it's 8.5. So the diameter in inch is 0.08 or lengthwise is 0.33. Bearing size, it says D5, D2, T2.5. It's a 2-pole motor, weighs 18 grams, and it's designed for 1/28 scale minis. It is completely disassemblable, so you remove the 2 screws out at back, and then you can get the rotor out and everything. It does give you a warning of the running temperature. It should be lower than 100 degrees C or 212 degrees Fahrenheit, so keep an eye on your gearing with it. When you set this up, start off with a smaller pinion and work your way up. But yeah, that's about all we need to know for the motor. We've covered its dimensions and everything, and the fact that it does come with a sensor cable, which is nice to see. I know an awful lot of motors don't come with a sensor cable, and if you didn't get one with your ESC, you're kind of stuck. But nice to see that this does. So moving on, let's look at the EzRun Mini28 ESC. And this is pretty small. So we have got quite a tiny little ESC here. We've got a power button that's just a push button. So on the top port here, we have the throttle and programming port. So if we look what we get in the box, you've got your standard sized micro connector that'll go one into your ESC and then into your mini receiver. So we do have that. And then for programming, or if you're using a receiver that uses a large servo plug, you can plug this in. You also use this for the actual programming. We've got a little LED, we've got A, B and C wires all pre-tinned, ready to solder, and we do have the standard battery plug that I think this one will work with the Micro B and Micro T. Pretty sure that's what it is. I know we've got these batteries that are from the SCX24 and they're the smaller size. So I'm pretty sure that is the one that works with Mini T and Mini B. Micro T and Micro B, sorry. But yeah, it's a tiny little programmable speed controller. 2S LiPo, BC can be 6 or 7.4 volts, so if you've got an uprated servo, nice to see we get that. You also get another 2 sensor cables, so depending on which motor you have or you're pairing this with, you've got the side that goes into the ESC, then you've got the slightly bigger sensor cable and the tiny one. So depending which one you actually need, you get both them. And if we have a quick look again for his cable sizes, so the one with big plug on, you're looking at probably a little over 75mm. Then as cable for his mini receiver plug, looking just over 90mm. Or one for the programming or the big plug. In total, do it this way, it's easier, you're looking 70mm end to end, and then the other cable we're looking around 85mm end to end. So you've got a lot of choice of cables, connectivity, and how you're going to set this up. We do get the obligatory Hobbywing stickers. I know these are getting rarer in some ESCs, you don't get them with them all. Unfortunately they've had to fold them, so it'd be worth flattening these out if you're going to use them. Hopefully it don't ruin stickers. But let's have a look through the instructions on this one. So we've got the actual specs of the motor and everything and the speed controller. So we're looking at a 30 amp constant and a 80 amp boost or peak. Motor type, it'll run censored or sensorless brushless motors, 1/28 scale, 1626 size motors, 2S LiPo, 6 volt to 7.5 adjustable BEC, 3.5 amp peak output. It weighs 5 grams without wires. It's a programming port is shared with the throttle cable port. Dimensions, it only gives us in millimeters, so we've got 22.7 by 14.2 by 11.8. Does tell you how to connect your motor wiring and everything. Programming for the calibration, I'll do a video on this once I've got it set up, but it's basically same as all Hobbywing. Power on with power button held down, leave your trigger in neutral, press the power button on speed controller, light will flash green, full throttle, press the power button again, light will flash green, and then full brake, press the power button and it'll flash green 3 times, and then you've set it. So if we look at what is programmable on this tiny little speed controller, so we've got programmable running modes. So we have forward with brake, forward reverse with brake, or forward and reverse crawler style. We can set as maximum forward force from 30 to 100%. We can set the maximum reverse force, 25, 50, 75 or 100. You've got your cut-off voltage for your battery to keep it safe. You can either disable this, have it set to auto, 3.3 volt per cell, or you can set it from 4 to 7.4 volt adjustable in 0.1 volt steps. Thermal protection, we can disable this. We can have it to 105 degrees or 221 Fahrenheit, or you can bump it up a little to 125 and 257 degrees Fahrenheit. BEC, as we've mentioned, is 6 volt or 7.4. We can reverse the motor rotation on it, so it's clockwise and counterclockwise. You've got throttle rate control that's 1 to 30 and it goes in steps of 1. Your neutral range is 3% to 10%, adjustable in 1% increments. Initial throttle force, so if you've got slippier tyres and you want to back power off initially on throttling, is 1 to 15%, and that's in 1% steps. Coasting, so especially on lighter RCs with brushless motors, when you let go they kind of feel like they've slammed brakes on. So you've got 0 to 15% in 1% steps. PWM drive frequency, now this has got some drawbacks to using it but some positives. So the higher you set this, the more fidelity you'll have, if you like, on your actual drive, your throttle, but the hotter it will make the ESC run, so you've got to keep your eye on both. On this we can have 1, 2, 4, 8, 12, 16, 24 or 32 thousand, and there's also a customized option. So softening value is 0 to 30 in 1 degree steps. Softening range, so you've got 0, 10 and 20, then it goes up in 5s from 25 all the way to 75%. Drag brake force, so when you let off, the actual amount of braking you want to dial in, you can have 0 to 100, adjustable in 1 degree increments. Maximum brake force, so we can have 0 to 100 in 1 degree steps. So the lower you have that, the less full brake force you'll have when you're at full brake on the transmitter. Brake rate control, 1 to 20, adjustable in steps of 1. Brake frequency, again, the higher you have this, the more sort of feel and control you'll have over it, but the hotter that the ESC will run when you're braking. So again on this we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12 and 16,000 or customized. Boost timing, so this is the amount of degrees of boost it'll give you when you hit the throttle and it's accelerating, and that's 0 to 56 degrees, adjustable in 1 degree steps. Boost timing activation, so what will actually trigger the boost, you can have it set at an RPM or automatic. Boost start RPM, if you have it set to RPM, is between 500 and 3500, adjustable in 500 RPM steps. And then the boost end is 3000 to 60,000 RPM in 500 RPM steps. Turbo timing, so the amount of advanced timing it gives you sort of when you're maxed out at top speed, is again 0 to 56 degrees, adjustable in 1 degree increments. Turbo delay, so the amount of time that passes when you hit full throttle before the turbo comes in and will let your motor overrun. So on this one we can have it instant, we can have it in 0.02, 0.05, 0.1, 0.15, 0.2, 0.25, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.7 or an entire second. So it really depends on how long your straight is, and if you're reaching the max RPM of your motor, you can dial in some turbo just to get the extra legs to get you to the end of the longest straight. And then we've got turbo increased rate. So this is the amount of degrees over time that it will increase the turbo on this one. So you've got 3 degrees, 6 degrees, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, or instant. And that's in 0.1 of a second increments as it does that. And then again, you've got the same for decreasing, so how quick it sort of retards the advance, brings it back down, and you've got exactly the same settings on that. So yeah, it's quite a programmable little speed controller for a tiny little 28 scale. So it's quite an interesting little speed controller. Not sure which ones of these are going to be more useful for you, and we've got to have a look at a later date in another video on which ones we can use for what programmers. It does mention the OTA programmer and also the new LCD programmer. So be interesting to see how they work with this as regards firmware update possible and things like that. It does look like we've got a thermal pad in the top of this, so it should help with heat dissipation. But as a rule, the little 28 scales don't really run that hot. They're not running crazy power. So yeah, it will be interesting to see how this performs. Repairability, looks like you'd have to force the thing out of there if you're going to get it out of its little protective shell. But that's the first look and a bit of a go through the instructions, so you know what to expect if you buy either the motor speed controller, or as I've done, you buy a combo. Now I have got a reasoning for this. For me, I've got the Furitech system in the Low C Mini Micro B, and to be honest, I'd like to compare what it's like running a Hobbywing system compared to the Furitech. The Furitech, talking to a lot of guys since I've done the first look of that one, although it fits well, still got nothing back from Furitech as a fix for the motor going faster in reverse than forward. Shouldn't be an issue because it's a really high RPM, but it is a bit awkward to get the pinions for that. The only place I've found that does them is to order them directly from Furitech. But yeah, the software wise has not been brilliant, and I did reach out to them when they sent me the gripper, I think it were, the little transmitter. Said that I'd set that up on it and it still had the same problem with going faster in reverse than forward, and the email that they replied to me was throw the gripper in bin, we're releasing a new one, which weren't great. Especially seems as though there's plenty of guys out there that might have bought it and they're saying it's garbage, throw it in bin. Never had that kind of issue with Hobbywing, although I have had a report back from a number of people that's commented on my videos with the latest versions of the Hobbywing 10 scale ESCs, where a couple of them have had quite a bad sort of result with them. So be interesting to see what happens with this one compared to the Furitech. I do like the Furitech system, it's nice and small, but this looks just as small, and we'll have to see if this is any easier to get pinions for or anything. But yeah, that's the first look at this little combo. So let's wrap this one up. So there we have it, the little combo Mini28 and 1626 SD 6,500 kV motor from Hobbywing. Hopefully we'll get time to get a few videos on this and give you an update on what it's like programming and everything. But yeah, thanks again for watching Wtf Rc Cars. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, share to friends and family, and catch you guys again in the next one.